on? Welcome inside the Red Mile Rundown. This is the big 50 episode. We have hit 50 episodes of the podcast and excited to bring you more around the show here as well. Welcome inside. I am your host, Johnny Soap, and alongside me, as always, from flamesnation.ca, he is the one, the only Robert Munich. How we doing, Robert?
Well, first off, happy 50th episode anniversary, birthday,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it. It's been a fun ride so far, so let's keep it going for another 50 plus. I'm depressed. I'm very down. Had a terrible sports weekend. Thank the Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, for getting the Seattle Seahawks a massive victory yesterday and also making sure that no one got hurt on that terrible field in Washington. But oh god, between the Blue Jays and Stampeders and Flames, it was just a depressing weekend.
Yeah, anyone who knows me and follows me on social media knows I'm not a Jays fan, and I get a lot of grief for it because I'm Canadian, but I don't cheer for the Jays. I can understand the people are downtrodden by that result.
Yeah, you know that?
But
major
then
scumbag.
I got called. I was told I wasn't a true Canadian because I don't cheer for the Blue Jays. But I can understand and get with people because I too have a baseball team that lost a World Series back in 2014, so I know how that feels. And then my Chiefs decided that they're just not going to play against the Bills on Sunday, so it was a trying weekend of sports for both of us. You a little bit more than me. But the Flames decided to gift us with 2 points yesterday in Philadelphia, so there are a few bright spots to chat about. We'll see if we can find them, Robert. But before we get to all of it, what'd you make of the Flames weekend? You got a loss in there, you got a win in there, but for the second straight week, they win the day before we record a podcast after maybe a bit of a hard week before they get to that Sunday win.
Yeah, I thought the weekend was it was okay. I mean, they got off to the terrible start in Nashville, but their game picked up in the second and third periods of that one. Dustin Wolf had a rough first period. The whole team had a rough first period. It was a mess. Luckily, Devin Cooley came in and kind of saved the day, kept them in it, and they were able to kind of find their legs again. And then the Philly game was, like I mentioned on Twitter, one of the least entertaining hockey games I think I've seen all season that I can remember in a long time. It was really that bad. Just a terrible hockey game from an entertainment standpoint. So, yes, they get the win. And yes, that's the type of hockey that the Calgary Flames need to play in order to win games. Like Ryan Huska says, they need to play low-event hockey if they want to win. It sucks to watch. It sucks for the fans. But if the team wants to get back in it and they want to start winning some more hockey games and feel better about themselves, that is the way they're going to have to play, unfortunately. So, a very mediocre weekend from the Flames. The Nashville game doesn't sit quite well because, the Predators were not very good in that game. They're a terrible team, and they kind of outclassed the Flames in that first period. And so, yeah, overall, pretty mid, pretty average. What did you make of it?
I loved your GIF you used yesterday, and I think it sums up the game perfectly, where it was just the 3 cartoon soccer players from the Simpsons episode just passing the ball around, just back and forth. That sums up last night's game quite nicely for me. I never once got to the edge of my seat in that hockey game yesterday. Other than Jonathan Huberdeau, there wasn't much to really read into on that game. I was really disappointed in Saturday's game against Nashville because Nashville's not off to the best start. They've had their own struggles. That's a very winnable hockey game. It's a good chance for you to right the ship a little bit. And that first period was just dreadful from the Flames, where nothing seemed to go right for them. They didn't seem set from the get-go. Dustin Wolf looked shaky. You had horrendous defensive responsibilities in that game. And Nashville took advantage of a good first period and were able to surf that one home. It got a little dicey for them in that third period, but I never really felt like that game was in doubt for Nashville just because the Flames just never really got off the mat till the third period. Just another one of those, we'll play 20, 30 minutes and hope that we get the result type of hockey games. So it's a little bit disappointing based off of what they saw in the province of Ontario the 2 games before that. I thought you'd see a better effort, a little bit more of, okay, guys, we're on the road here. Let's galvanize ourselves together here. Let's get some results. And they just fell flat in Nashville. And then they went really simple in Philadelphia. And that is not a good Flyers team. I don't know how they got 6 wins on the year, but credit to them, I guess. That was not a great effort from either side, and the Flames were just able to get that one extra goal to go in to give them the win. So overall, weekend was very meh. A little disappointing on Saturday for me, though, personally.
Flames fans should be thankful that Rick Tocchet is not the head coach of the Calgary Flames. That guy plays the like we think Ryan Huska's system is low event and lacks entertainment value. Rick Tocchet is like Huska times 2 in that regard. It's so bad to watch. Like I've covered the Canucks the last couple years.
Yeah,
they just refuse to shoot the puck. They refuse to do take any chances offensively. Like Rick Tocchet hockey is awful to watch. And one other point I just want to make quickly is that the Flames, they've gotten kind of lucky in their 3 wins this year in terms of their opponents. Like, so you look at opening night, the Oilers gave away that game.
Mm-hmm.
The New York Rangers were awful when in that 5-1 victory.
Yeah,
one of the worst performances from a team I've seen all season. And last night in Philly, the Flyers were brutal. They had absolutely nothing going. So, I mean, from one standpoint, you can say to yourself, good on the Flames for taking advantage of that. But then from the other perspective, it's like, man, the Flames, they kind of got lucky in terms of facing teams when they're at their absolute lowest in terms of their quality of play. So, you know, it's crazy to think, like, if these 3 teams that they beat this year, if they just come with their B or A game, we might literally be talking about a 1 or 0 win team right now. Like that's how bleak things have been for the Flames this year.
Well, if it wasn't for that nice, beautiful gift of Stuart Skinner in night 1, this season would have got off to an even more horrendous start.
Yeah,
and to be worse than the Rangers or the Flyers in those 2 games would have taken a lot of actual physical hard work to be worse than those 2 teams. So yeah, I'm with you there, Robert. They definitely got lucky in those games. And you watched that Flyers game yesterday and what Rick Tocchet's done to that roster, and you're like, how do you take guys like Zegras and Michkov and have nothing to show for it offensively? Like, you take the fun out of the game for these guys.
Did Michkov even play yesterday?
I saw him in that final minute when they had the empty net going, but that's about all you really can remember from the guy. Like you have these superstars and you've taken the fun out of the game for them and really have made them play defensive responsibility. And you've really taken out what the Flyers actually are. You watched the Flyers last year with the similar players, and you're like, okay, this team is going somewhere. I don't want to make this a Flyers podcast, but I'm kind of glad I'm not a Flyers podcaster right now, because what do you say about that team right now and the way Rick Tocchet has them going? Because it's not pretty either out there. So
the one thing they do have going for them is a very hot start to the season for Dan Vladar.
Yes.
I don't know if you've checked out his numbers, but he's literally one of the best goalies in the NHL. You can make an argument he's literally been the best goalie in the NHL. Like, he's been that good, like him and Dobish and maybe even Devin Cooley. We'll talk about that a little bit later.
Maybe. And no, Flame fans, Dan Vladar is not the difference between wins and losses this season for the Flames because of Dan Cooley that we'll talk to about in a minute here.
The thing with Vladar is he was never going to sign here because he wanted to be a starter.
Yeah,
he was never going to be that guy here. Like, the Flames could have offered him, a 2-year contract making $5 million a year. I still don't think Dan Vladar would have taken that. I think he desperately wanted to be a starter in the NHL. It wasn't going to happen in Calgary.
And the move paid off for him. Good on him. I think the bigger story for me this past few games, Robert, the results are what the results are, and this team is what this team is. But we really have to give some attention here to what we've seen lineup-wise from the Flames and some of the decisions of Ryan Huska. I know both you and I tried to defend him a little bit on some of the decisions and the logic behind some of his decisions, but I think even you and I this weekend reached a bit of a breaking point with another Parekh scratch in back-to-back games, Connor Zary being scratched again, and meanwhile, these veterans continue to get the benefit of the doubt. So let's talk about that a little bit on the pod here today, Robert, because I know that's a big thing on social media right now is the decisions of Ryan Huska when he puts guys in the lineup and the leash that some guys get, deserved or not deserved, and how little it seems that some of these other kids, these younger players, are getting from Ryan Huska. What do you make of his coaching decisions when I called overcoaching?
That's exactly it. He is 100% overcoaching right now, and I think it's because the Flames have got off to such a bad start this year that he's basically doing everything in his power to try and turn things around. And I think he's almost doing too much right now. And I think a lot of Flames fans would agree with that. You mentioned a bunch of the things that he's done so far, but you have Zayne Parekh being a healthy scratch for 4 games already this year. Healthy scratching Matt Coronado. Healthy scratching Connor Zary. Putting Yegor Sharangovich at center. Overplaying Dustin Wolf. He hasn't found a partner for Mackenzie Weegar yet. D pairings keep getting all messed up. He changes the forward lines. What seems like every single game, there's no way for this group to build chemistry and continuity because he keeps messing with the forward lines. It just feels like he's trying to do way too much right now. I think the best thing that Ryan Huska could do is just ask himself, who are the 12 best forwards? Who are the 6 best defensemen? And play those players.
Mm-hmm.
Stop. Matt Coronado takes a bad penalty and he gets healthy scratch for it. Ridiculous. Connor Zary, supposedly one of the big reasons why he was healthy scratches because he took a lazy penalty. You know who else has been taking lazy penalties all year? Rasmus Anderson. There's no accountability for Rasmus. Michael Backlund has not been very good this year. There's no accountability for Michael Backlund. Like, you could just go up and down the lineup. Like, even Sharangovich, I know he's been healthy scratch, but I don't think he's been very good lately since getting back into the lineup. He continues to get back in the lineup and plays center, which is just totally bizarre. It's just, it makes no sense. Like, in Yegor Sharangovich's 2 years with the Calgary Flames, one thing we've learned is that he can't play center. It doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, I mean, just the coaching decisions are all over the map. Mm-hmm. I think he's got to simplify. I think he's got to, like you said, stop overcoaching, play your best players, do a couple things like sit Justin Kirkland more. I'm really starting to believe Justin Kirkland is not an NHL player. Sit Ryan Lomberg a little bit more. He had a nice game in Nashville, but what has he done this year? He hasn't done anything. I don't even think he has a point. Like, play your best players, simplify things, play Zayne Parekh. Like, gosh, there's so many things right now where it's just like, it almost feels like Ryan Huska is doing this on purpose to try and piss off Flames fans and make them go absolutely insane. And you know what? It's working, as you can tell by this little rant I'm going on.
Yeah, and everything you're putting in that rant, though, isn't a rant. It's the truth. It's the truth. How can you expect your younger players, these ones that you're holding to this ridiculous standard, it feels like, on some nights, how can you expect them to learn and to grow if you're continually moving them around the lineup and then wondering why they're not producing? We remember last week where Coronado was scratched, then he got in for a game, but then he was on the 4th line, and then in practice the next day, he was the extra forward, which would signify a lot of nights, say, this might be the way we're going to lean again for another scratch. Well, you didn't put him in his position to succeed in the lineup. And when he was in the lineup, he had about, 17 different line mates at one point in this season. We need to find a little continuity. And I understand what Ryan Huska is trying to do and trying to find groupings that work together, trying to find guys to get chemistry going, trying to find a spark somewhere. You're 3-9-2 on the season. I think we're past trying to find a spark. I think what you need to try to do is put your players in a spot to succeed here where you can learn and to grow. And that means putting your young players in a position to succeed. Sharangovich at 4th line center is never going to work. I don't care who you are or even on a video game. That's not going to work. His skill set does not match that of what Ryan Lomberg brings to the table. At the same time, Matt Coronado is up and down the lineup like he's a yo-yo. Well, put him beside someone, i.e. a Kadri or even a Frost, and let them find something to work together with. Try to find a footing here. A 3-shift second period doesn't give you all the information that you need. Put your blender away for a little bit. Let these players play. Identify, like you said, Robert, your best 12 guys and dress them and play them. And don't be so hesitant on scratching guys. Ryan Lomberg, hockey-wise, is terrible. Okay, he's not bringing much to the table. It's a fine forechecking forward who brings good vibes. That's great. You don't need that 82 times a season. Kirkland, he's a great shootout story last year.
He's 0 for 2 in the shootout this year.
He's 0 for 2 this year. And what is he bringing you this year? His face-off numbers are not great. He's got no points on the season. What is he bringing to the
barely plays on the penalty kill?
Don't stop dressing the guys that aren't helping you win hockey games and then trying to blend the ones that are playing to help you win hockey games. Like, the one thing I do like that he's done is he's left Honzik for the most part with Backlund and Coleman, and that line has seemingly found something. Why not do the same thing with Huberdeau and Kadri and so forth? Maybe it's Matt Coronado. Maybe it's Zary, Frost, and Farabee, and that's a trio that you find that works together. You don't know until you let them play a handful of games together. it just doesn't work putting new guys with new guys every single night. And then back on the back end, people are like, well, Uyghur's been terrible today. But Uyghur's played with everybody, so he doesn't know his defensive partner is going to do that night. He doesn't know who he's playing with the next game. It's hard to have a consistent game when you're always the guy trying to anchor down somebody else because you're not sure what they're going to bring today. So let these guys find some chemistry. Let these guys get together here and put it up. The results cannot possibly get any worse. The only way they get worse is if you get shut out every night. So why not try to find lines that work together? So I like Huska. I like a lot of his philosophies. I like some of the systems that he brings to the table. The one thing I'm really getting a little tired of, though, is it's not working for 3 shifts in a row. The blender comes out, and all of a sudden we're seeing Lomberg and Sharon Govich on a fourth line, and we're seeing Klapka trying to be forced beside Michael Back, and it just doesn't work. You got to put these guys in spots to succeed. And then at the same time here, as the second part of my rant here a little bit, hold your veterans accountable. Why can't you have Michael Backlund sit for a game? Why can't you give Blake Coleman less ice time if he's screwing up? Why can't you put Kadri down to a second or third line if he screws up? Whatever the situation may be. Why does Rasmus Andersson get all the benefit in the doubt? He's been terrible. Why does he get to play all these top-end minutes? Let your veterans know and make an example out of some of them as well and send the message that, hey, what's good for number 16 is good for number 91, which is as good for 27. Everyone has the same standard. That's what I'd really like to see from Ryan Huska right now because he's overcoaching, like we've said. Set a standard and let's stick with it.
I agree. And I still think that this team should go with, at least from a forward group standpoint, go with like having 4 second lines or 4 third lines. Yeah, I really think that's the way this thing needs to go because the fourth line has, I hear lots of media say the fourth line's been like the Flames' most consistent line this year. Consistently doing what? Like, what are they accomplishing? Yeah, like they're being physical. Adam Klapka smashes guys. Ryan Lomberg can get in on the forecheck and create a little bit of havoc. But what does it ultimately lead to? Like what are we doing here? So I totally agree. Like, get Ryan Lomberg out of there. Get Justin Kirkland out of there. Call up a Rory Cairns or somebody like that, and build 4 lines that can go out and potentially score you goals. I know how difficult scoring is for this team right now, but there's so many like things that you can critique with Ryan Huska this year, and it's too bad because I know both you and I like the guy, but in my opinion, it's been a bit of a shit show train wreck in terms of coaching this year. The special teams are terrible. The penalty kill is not as strong as it was last year. The thing I don't get about the penalty kill is they finished the season in their last 25 games, first in the NHL in the penalty kill, and then they go in this year and they completely change it, which doesn't make sense to me. The penalty kill does not look very good. The power play is a mess. Systems-wise, the team plays a low-event, boring style of hockey. The lineups are all over the map. You're scratching young players. You're hurting their development. What the hell is going on right now?
Hey, but Robert, you need that energy line, right? You need that energy fourth line.
I want to smash my head against the wall hearing that.
What does that energy fourth line bring to the table? You cannot tell me that those 3 guys together, all due respect to what Klapka brings to the ice, is any worse than what a Cairns and Gridden in this lineup will bring to the ice. What is worse about having those 2 players in this lineup? Both Lomberg and Kirkland are great guys, good vibe guys, but they're great 13 and 14th forwards for a team. Bring in players to play. Why can't you put Cairns on a line, on a third line, center line, and move Michael Backlund down a line? Why can't he center a fourth line? Like you mentioned, make some second lines out of this group. Have 4 lines that you can have responsibilities at both ends of the ice and find ways to be successful. This penalty kill, I just looked it up as you were talking, Robert. The penalty kill is sitting at 19th in the league. That's nothing to brag about. Your power play is sitting at 28th in the league. But you know what? Get those fourth line grinders in there because they're even on the season and they bring good energy. I just don't get it.
I don't either. And like I just listed off, there's been a lot of issues with Ryan Huska's
100%.
Coaching philosophy or the way he's gone about his business this year. He's got to figure it out here. I don't think he's going anywhere, especially because he just signed that new 2-year contract extension. But man, it's been a little ugly to start this season.
Yeah, no, I'm not about this fire Huska thing. it needs to be a little bit of showing growth as a coach from Ryan Huska, realizing that, hey, maybe the ship is being oversteered a little bit here because we're not getting chemistry from anybody, but maybe that's because I'm not letting them get some chemistry. So I think a little bit of maturity behind the bench. This is a chance for Ryan Huska to also grow. We want players to grow every single season. We want players to learn and grow. We talk about Zayne Parekh a lot, and we're going to talk about him in just a second here as well, about how the growth we see from this guy from night 1 to night 2 and so on and so forth. Coaches need to do the same thing, and this is a good learning experience for Ryan Huska, but he needs to finally realize that, hey, maybe third line Coronado and fourth line Sharon Govich just isn't the way to go here.
Yep. I would definitely like to talk about Zayne here.
So yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it because Ryan Huska's scratched him a couple of games, but when he's played, I think he's been okay. Yes, you're going to get your rookie learning things. Yes, he's taken some big hits. And so now it's led to the question of what do they really do with Zayne Parekh? What do they have here? What's the approach for the rest of the season? We saw reports of maybe juniors as an option, and we've heard other people refute those reports. What do you see from Parekh here, and what do you do with Parekh?
Well, let's hear what you have to say first, because I know you're a big junior guy, and you've been
following
Parekh for a long time. So like, what would you do with Zayne Parekh right now?
I'm a big fan of the CHL and what it brings to the table. And you see guys, and it benefits a lot of guys. We saw Leon Draisaitl a few years ago. He got sent back. Memorial Cup run. We've seen Sam Reinhart go back, and he's had really good success. We just saw Jet Luciano of the Flyers. We saw how bad the Flyers are. He's gone back, and he's seen some good early success in the season. We've seen players last year. Zayne Parekh was one of them, went back and had really good junior seasons. There's a lot of value in junior hockey, but then at the same time, there becomes a time where they're just too good for that league, and that junior hockey is not going to bring anything for these guys. I've seen guys go back to junior. Dylan Cousins comes to mind. He played for the Lethbridge Hurricanes, right in my backyard here. 7th pick by the Buffalo Sabres. He got sent back to junior because he didn't quite make the Sabres out of camp. He couldn't go to the AHL. He came to Lethbridge, and by New Year's he was bored, and you can tell he was bored. You could tell that, okay, he would, when he wanted to be engaged and he wanted to just end a hockey game in overtime, he would just end it because he was just that much better than everybody else. I don't think that final year in junior benefited Dylan Cousins, where the AHL could have benefited what Dylan Cousins. It's stiffer competition, it's bigger players, it's men. You send Zayne Parekh back to junior this year, no one's pushing him around in that league. They're his size. He's better than they are. He had higher skill than those guys are. So I don't know if there's any benefit for Zayne Parekh. I really, really, really wish that the AHL was an option for Zayne Parekh so the Flames could kind of put him in the league and bring him up when they needed to play a few games and back down to help him play, help him learn to take the body checks that these grown men are going to be throwing at him. Zayne Parekh defending 17-year-olds in Shawinigan in a night down the line isn't going to benefit him as well as maybe playing a game in Tucson and having to fight for pucks, having to battle for things. So I really wish that was an option, and it's not. So what I would do with Zayne Parekh is I would Leo Carlsson this guy. I really, really would. He doesn't need to play every night, but you do need to play him still for his development. So I would pick some starts for him. I would give him, say, every 4th game off and let him play a couple of games, let him learn from those games, take a seat, watch the process again, and go again, and really teach him how to not put himself in vulnerable spots to take those massive hits like he did against Vegas. I think the Flames need to start using the rest of this season as a learning experience for Zayne Parekh. He does need to play for game's sake and for his sake, but you can also still sit him strategically to help him learn the game. So that's where I'm at with Zayne Parekh and what I would do with him. As much as I love Junior and as much fun as he'd be putting up 150 points with the Spirit this year, I just don't think there's any benefit whatsoever for him, nor a benefit for the league.
Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything you just said. If it were up to me, number one, he absolutely stays in the NHL. Number two, I don't mind the idea of maybe sitting him, once or twice a month in November and December, just because they're playing a ridiculous amount of hockey. Like they got 15 games in 30 days in November here. That's asking a lot from a 19-year-old who's not used to this type of grind, 100%. Playing against the best players in the world. So yeah, I don't mind that every now and then. The big thing for me is Ryan Huska needs to start showing some trust in him, because Zayne Parekh looks like a player that has no confidence, and this is coming from one of like the more confident people I think on the entire team. He's playing with little to no confidence, and I think a big reason why is that every time he's going out on the ice now, I believe that he's saying to himself, I can't make a mistake. Like, I can't make a mistake or else I'm going to get benched or I'm going to get healthied. Because if I make a mistake, Ryan Huska is going to be all over me. This is where Ryan Huska, Trent Cull, Flames leadership group, in terms of the players, they need to have Zayne's back. They need to tell him, go out and play your game. Play with confidence. Make plays. Yes, there are times when you're going to want to make the simple play instead of going overboard, because that's just what you do in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
And that's fine. Help him with that. Teach him how to play the game. Every time, like last night, he makes the mistake on the power play, tries to glove down a puck that's coming out of the zone. He gets it down to a stick, and all of a sudden it gets poked away from him. He doesn't make the play quick enough. He barely played after that because I think Ryan Huska said to himself, this is a very tight game, and we can't afford to have any turnovers like that anymore. And he barely played for the rest of the game. That can't happen anymore. I think you gotta trust him. I think you got to play him with better players. I'd like to see him with Kevin Ball at some point this year. Maybe even a Mackenzie Weegar at some point this year. The one thing, though, and I'll be curious to get your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
Should they send him to the World Juniors? I'll let you answer that one first, and then I'll my thoughts.
That's a great question. It's another great tournament for a guy to go in because it's high level every single night. If the season continues to go how it's going for the Flames, and nothing suggested it's not, I would for the simple fact of he would be a leader on that Team Canada. He would be a go-to guy for Team Canada. He would get all situations for Team Canada. And I know I just talked down Junior a little bit, but these are the best of juniors. So the competition is not going to be over his head or underneath of him. It's going to be right where he is. So if the season goes how it's going right now, and if they're going to continue to scratch him 2 of every 5 games, then what does it hurt him? I think I would.
I like the way you put that. If this season continues to be a shit show, I think it makes some sense to send him there. I know it's a big commitment. You're going to lose Zayne off your roster for over a month between training camp, pre-tournament games, the tournament, and then getting back to Calgary. It's like about a month. So you're gonna be without him for a while. I'm almost at this point of the season with everything I've seen, with how much playing time he's getting, how little trust Ryan Huska has in him, the lack of confidence Zayne has right now. I honestly think the best thing for him might be to go to the World Juniors and go play in those high pressure environments with crazy fans, intense rivalries. I find the World Juniors is some of the best hockey that we see during a calendar year because these kids go balls to the wall every single shift. There's a ton of pressure, and Zayne would probably be the best defenseman on the team because I don't know if Sam Dickinson's going to be on that group.
I don't think
Matthew
he is.
Schaefer is not going to be there. So Zayne will probably be the best player on the team, the best defenseman. I think it's going to be an amazing learning experience for him. I think it'll get him out of Calgary. It'll get him out of this losing environment. It'll get him away from Ryan Huska. Go to Team Canada. Go there, dominate, play in the top pair, first power play. Lead your team to a gold medal. What an amazing experience that would be, especially to do it on U.S. soil too, in these packed, crazy environments, hostile environments. I think that would be such an amazing experience for Zayne. And because the Flames are so bad, because, like I said, lack of confidence, Ryan Huska doesn't trust him. Get him out of here. Get him out of here for the month. Go play World Juniors. Have fun. Play with some people your own age. Make some new friends.
Yeah, B19.
B19. That's a great way to put it. I think he's putting too much pressure on himself. I think there's a little too much pressure on the kid. Go out there and have fun. Go play the World Juniors. I am, as of today, November 3rd, I am all for sending him to the World Juniors.
Because there's only one downside to Zayne Parekh leaving for that entire time. The downside is the Flames continue to lose, right?
Honestly, isn't a bad thing.
Which they're doing right now with him in the lineup, and you're taking him out every few games for a couple of games, and we're no disrespect to Bean or Pahal, but we're watching Bean and Pahal patrol a third pair. and they're getting caved in just as much as Zayne Parekh would get caved in. The experience at the World Juniors would teach him a couple of things. I think it would help him mature because he'd be counted on to be one of, if not the guy on the back end. He would be counted on in all situations. It would allow this guy to maybe gain some confidence back in what he's ability to do. And I think mentally, I think it might reset him a little bit as well. Hey, I don't have the pressures of Ryan Huska every day in my face. I don't have the pressures of this hockey team, and the fan base has a lot of expectations for Zayne Parekh. Just a couple of weeks away from that might help him reset a little bit as well. And then when he comes back from the World Juniors, you might have a very big invigorating, especially if they win, an invigorated, excited Zayne Parekh, and maybe we see a little bit something different from him down the stretch in Calgary. So the benefits, I think, far outweigh the one negative, which is Flames lose.
For sure. Eric Francis had an article on Sportsnet where he talked to Zayne's parents, and I think it was Zayne's dad had mentioned to him that Zayne had been coming to his parents saying I'm playing terrible hockey right now. Like, I don't know if I can play. Like, he's having all these doubts about his ability at the NHL level right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think going to the World Juniors would really help kind of alleviate that. I think if he goes to the juniors, the World Junior tournament, and puts on a great performance and is a dominant player out there, all of a sudden I think that swagger starts to come back. That inner belief would start to come back in his game. And I think when he would rejoin the Flames in January, I think he could potentially be a completely different person and player coming back from an experience like that, depending how it goes, obviously.
Of course.
If it goes like it has the last couple of years for Canada, maybe it's not a great thing, but I don't see that happening this year. So
no, me either.
I think it can only benefit him. I'm curious, like, what have you thought of his game? Oh, and actually, just one other thing I just kind of quickly thought about.
Yeah.
It also might be good to get Zayne out of Calgary for a bit, because he is like the focus of the fan base right now in the media. Which is totally not fair, but you and I are part of this. Like, we're talking about him right now for 20 minutes. Anytime he makes a play, I'm posting it on social media. It might be good for him to get out of Calgary for a month and just get the attention away from him. Because it's like every mistake he makes, people are pointing out. Like Eric Francis in his article this morning kind of roasted him in like the first couple paragraphs of his article.
Mm-hmm.
And if he makes a mistake, like, I'll post it on socials and other people will start talking about it. Like, maybe just get him out of Calgary, get him out of this fishbowl, because the team is so bad. All the attention's on him, and the fan base, a lot of the pressure of the future is kind of on his shoulders right now, and it's almost a little unfair to him. So get him out of Calgary, get him out of that dressing room, get his confidence back at the World Juniors, and then he can come back to Calgary, hopefully a different player. That's kind of how I'm feeling about it. But I'm curious, what have you thought of his play lately?
Yeah, to your point, that's a 19-year-old kid, right? Thinking back to when you're 19, trying to learn to be a pro at the NHL level. As far as his play goes, it's hard to really judge his play because, as you just mentioned, he makes a mistake and Huska's like, okay, well, we'll give you 2 shifts maybe later in the game. But then he's out there in such important spots like power play 1 or the end of a hockey game when they need a goal. So for me, it's hard to evaluate overall what his play is because the Flames are using him in such a strange way. There's no rhyme or reason for how they're using him. There's nothing consistent about how they're using him. But this is a player who I think, with where his confidence is at, he's playing okay, but he needs to provide a little bit more. But at the same time, you make those mistakes and you're not allowing him to get that little bit more. And he's trying to do it alongside slower players like Jake Bean or a Joe Hanley, and he's got to learn that side of things as well. So I'm not trying to skirt the question because he's a great player, and I think there's a lot of things we're seeing good from him. But at the same time, there are those mistakes there, and then when he makes those mistakes, we don't get to see how he rebounds from those mistakes too much. I would have loved to see maybe him get 1 shift off after that mistake and then right back out there. What do you have in response to this gaffe? What do you have in response to that shift not going your direction? And then at the same time, I'd like to see him maybe shoot a little bit more, put that puck to the net a little bit more. He's trying to be a little bit too fancy on some breakout passes as well. Just simplify the game a little bit more for him, and maybe that'll help him cut down on those mistakes. But overall, I think he's been okay. He's a kid at 19 trying to learn to be a pro in the National Hockey League. on a team that's absolutely horrendous right now and can't put together anything themselves. So it's a tough question for me to answer, and I'm not trying to skirt the question, Robert, but that's kind of how I see it working out.
It really is too bad that he can't go to college or he can't go to the AHL.
Mm-hmm. Just
it's
not saying he's not good enough to play the NHL, but man, just a half a year in the AHL, how much growth would that do for a guy just in his position, right?
Yeah, as a 19-year-old, you want him playing as much as possible, and that's why I mentioned the NCAA and the AHL.
Doing good, yeah.
Those are the two leagues that I think he would get a ton of minutes in and probably be the best for his development, but obviously he can't go to either of them. But in terms of his game, like from what I'm seeing, is at 5-on-5, he's been fine. Like you take a look at all the possession metrics, he's actually been one of their better defensemen this year. So the numbers are fine. Obviously, you want to see a little bit more production from him because he's just uber talented. But what I'm seeing is just a guy, like I said, he's just lacking confidence. This is a guy that needs a coach, or he needs some teammates to give him a pat on the back, to tell him, go out there and play your game. You're Zayne Parekh. You're more talented than half the players on this ice. Go out there and just play your game. It looks like a guy who's just scared to make a mistake right now. Mm-hmm. That's no way for a 19-year-old to go out and play hockey. So I would love to see him kind of up the confidence level, make some more simple, high percentage plays, continue to get reps on the first power play unit. Like you said, shoot a little bit more. Like if he could just simplify his game, take the turnovers down a notch and just play with some confidence, play with some swagger. Like this is a guy who just like oozes confidence. And I'm just not seeing it right now. And I put a lot of the blame of that on the Flames coaching staff. They're not putting him in positions to succeed. It doesn't feel like they're supporting him like they should. And I think he needs a little ego boost here. And that's why I'm talking about the World Juniors the way I am. So yeah, it's been interesting. Like you take a look at like Zeev Buium, who's probably like the number one comparison for Parekh because they're the same age. And I think he's got 8 points in Minnesota already this year. And he's off to a good start. He gets put out there in top 4 minutes. Power play 1. Like the Wild trust him. I'd like to see Huska trust Zayne Parekh a little bit more than he has so far this year.
Yeah, and with a minute and a half to go last night in San Jose versus the Red Wings, their defenseman at the top of the point was Sam Dickinson, who's the other guy drafted right around where Zayne Parekh was as well. So you're seeing other teams put these players in positions to succeed. I'd love to see the Flames treat Zayne Parekh, how Zayne Parekh should be treated a little bit more. And to marry the two conversations here together, Robert, find him a consistent D partner. Find him someone just to staple to his left side and let those two find some chemistry, whether it's Kevin Ball, whether it's Hanley for the rest of the season, or so on and so forth, whoever it may be. Just let them form that chemistry. Let him get the confidence of playing with one person, and maybe we'll see a little bit more from his game. Continually play him. I'd like to see him get more situational play from the Flames as well, not just here's 30 seconds on a power play. Put him out in other situations. Hey, we're down a goal with 2 minutes to go. Go get something, Zayne Parekh. Or we're up a goal with 3 minutes to go. Go kill off a shift, Zayne. Let him do other things. Let him learn. Let him grow. Because I think the Flames really need to use the rest of this season for him as a learning experience. Teach him about being a pro, how to be an effective NHLer, and where his skill set is going to eventually take over. It will. One of these days, we're just going to see an end-to-end rush from Zayne Parekh that results in a grade A chance or a goal from this guy, because that's how talented he is. But you got to get that out of him by giving him the confidence to play in the National Hockey League and in your system. And it starts with just giving him a simple partner and simple assignments and adding a little bit more every single day. Buium's playing top 4 pairing minutes for Minnesota. Like, it can be done. And so just do it.
Like you said, like Sam Dickinson was even playing 3-on-3 overtime.
Yes, with 2 other guys in their second year. Like,
yeah, with Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini. It was awesome.
It was great.
I don't think Ryan Huska would ever do anything like that.
Could you imagine an overtime with Matt Gridden, Zayne Parekh, and say Matt Coronado?
No. No, not in a million years, because Ryan Huska's in charge.
Yeah, how fun would that be, though?
This is where Craig Conroy's got to come down from his office and go into Huska's office and be like, enough. Play the kid.
Yep.
Trust him, coach him, build his confidence back up, support him, play him. Stop with the healthy scratches, like the consistent healthy scratches. Stop with the limited ice time. Stop not trusting him. Play the kid. Like let's get it going here.
And that's perfect into our next topic here, Robert, because I think it goes beyond just doing that for Zayne Parekh as well. I think it should be the same thing for Matt Coronado, for a Connor Zary, for anyone who's under the age of 26. Hey, we got to know what these guys are. So it's time to cut the crap. You can dovey out punishments other ways if you need to. Let's play these guys because we kind of got to know what we are here, especially if we're going to move on from some veteran players down the line here. We got to know what these guys are. What is Samuel Honzik? Play him some more. Let's recall Gridden and see what Gridden is at this level. So I think it goes beyond just Zayne Parekh, and the approach to the rest of the season for me, which is where we're going to go here now, Robert, is I think the approach needs to be let's play these kids and see what we have. Because if you have to do a complete tear down to finish tearing down this whole thing, you're now looking at 3 to 5 years down the road now. Well, that's not going to be what Kadri is. That's not going to be where Backlund is. It's not going to be what Coleman's going to be. Anderson's not going to be around. It's an aging Mackenzie Weegar at that point. So who's going to get us from now to that point in 3 or 4 years, 5 years when we can be competitive again? It's going to be your Honziks, your Griddens, your Coronados, your Pareks. Play the kids and see where we go here. So that's my approach, I think, for the season here. I know they won last night in Philadelphia, but it doesn't give me a lot of confidence in how they won that game to change my opinion on this that I've had for about a week and a half now. It's time to play your young players. It's time to figure out what you have longer term in this organization, because we know what Kadri and Huberdeau are, but we have no idea what Coronado and Honzik are long term on this roster. Let's find out what they can be. You wanted to pay these guys. You want them around. Play them. What is Frost? What is Farabee? Who is Sharon Govich for this roster? Start making some decisions based off what's going to happen down the road here. Because if you looked at the math, and I don't know if you probably have because you're smart like that, they're almost at the point where they have to play 700 hockey to even make the playoffs. And that's a steep road. What about you, Robert? Where's your approach for the rest of this season at?
Yeah, the season's over. It's completely over.
It has to be.
Like it's a lost season. And if you're the Flames, embrace that. Embrace it.
That's a great word.
Stop with this delusional mindset that you're going to work your way out of this. Like you're absolutely insane if you think that's going to happen. And like the one thing lately that's just been driving me nuts is the mainstream media. They keep peddling this sort of company line that, it's way too early to start shopping players and put them on the trade market. It's so early for that. Like you got to wait till U.S. Thanksgiving. What do you mean? Like, if you're watching this Calgary Flames team and you're saying to yourself, gee, I don't really know what we are right now. We got to wait another 3 weeks. You're out of your goddamn mind. You don't know what you're looking at. This team is not good. They've dug themselves such a deep hole that they're not going to get out of it. It's time to admit that this is a lost season. Start putting guys on the trade market. Start moving out veterans between now and the trade deadline. It doesn't mean you have to start making trades today. It just means start having conversations with GMs. Hey, I have X number of players available right now. Here is what I'm looking for each of them. And if you meet my price, then we can pull off a deal between now and the trade deadline. It doesn't have to be immediate, but stop lying to yourself if you're the Flames. This is not a good team. And like I'm seeing Elliot Friedman, he I don't know what show he was on, but he was talking, saying the Flames' best case scenario is to convince like Nazem Kadri to stay and be in on the team next year and be competitive and get back in the mix. What are we doing here? This team is not good. Like how can Craig Conroy and Don Maloney and Dave Nonis and all these guys who've been in hockey forever watch this team and think to themselves, gee, I don't really know what we are yet. We still need more time to figure this out. That's ridiculous if that's truly the case, because this team is not good. Even if they do dig themselves out of it, they'll probably end the season around 500. Why do you want to do that? Like, just say it's a lost season. It's an amazing draft. Embrace the tank and build for the goddamn future. Like, I hate this whole notion that this team has to remain in the fight and they have to stay competitive. How dumb is that? Like, you're watching this team, you really think they can do that? Like, give your head a shake. It's time to move on. It's time to start selling veterans. Like you said, it's time to start playing young players and let's start building for 3 to 4 or 5 years from now. Stop with this whole we have to make it this year and we have to make it next year. It's okay to have a couple down seasons and acquire elite talent in the draft. It really is. Every great organization has to do it. So, if you're the Calgary Flames, why do you think you're smarter than the rest of the league? And you say to yourself, we can do this without tanking, even though every other team has been successful through doing that. What makes you think you're smarter than the rest of the NHL? You have nothing to show for it over the last 30 years here. You have literally nothing to show for it. You haven't even made it past Game 5 of the second round since 2004. Give your head a shake. It drives me absolutely crazy. It's so incredibly obvious to everyone what this team needs to do over the next couple years. And the only people who don't see it the same way are the people in that building or at the Saddle Dome. It's insane. If they continue to try to remain competitive next year, if they try to make the playoffs again next year, they're going to start losing fans.
Mm-hmm.
They really are. Or there's going to be apathy. People are just not going to care anymore because I can tell right now there's already a lot of people in this fan base that are starting just to not care about this team because there's just no hope. You got some nice pieces, but it's upper management and in the direction they're taking the team where people are starting to lose hope with this organization. So there's my rant. I'm pissed off.
All right.
I'm going to take a deep breath and calm down here.
Yeah. While Robert calms down, I'm going to bring a couple things to the table here. They need to be honest. This team won Sunday night for the right to go from 32nd place to 32nd place. That's after a victory. Okay. So they're still bottom of the league. They have 10 games to play before the Thanksgiving of the U.S. Thanksgiving. So the imaginary deadline people give them to. In order for them to be 500 at that point, they have to go 8-1-1 at minimum. At what point so far this year have you looked at this line and be like, man, they're just 2 or 3 bounces away from going on an 8-game win streak? It's just not there. They're just not capable of it. You watch them play Philadelphia and the Rangers in their couple of wins on a Sunday afternoon. Those were sleepy Sunday skate wins against teams that really couldn't care less to be on the ice with. You're not winning convincingly when you do win. You're finding ways to give up points. You're the team that has allowed the most goals in the National Hockey League in the third period, and it's by quite a bit at this point. You're a team that cannot hold a lead. They score first in 9 games, and they've only won 2 of those 9 games. It's not a good roster. It is not a good team. And there's nothing wrong with admitting to yourselves, okay, we have great pieces. Matt Coronado should be a really good top 6 winger. Looks like Sam Honzik's starting to turn into something. We really like what we've seen from Grid in the AHL. We have Zayne Parekh coming. Bruce Davidge is off to a good start in the American Hockey. We have guys and pieces here and around this team that we can build around. We still lack a number 1 center, all due respect to Nazem Kadri. We're still missing a left shot top pair defenseman, and maybe even a top right side defenseman, all due respect to the guys that we have. You don't have the people in the right positions to be a team that's just going to rattle off 8 wins and put yourself back in the playoff race. And so if the Flames magically do get one of these 7-8 game win streaks, all they're doing is putting themselves back into the mediocrity conversation. Oh, good. Now we're 12th. Okay, great. Now we're going to get the 17th pick in the draft. Oh, great. It's just history will repeat itself that way. So this is the time, and I'm not a team tank guy, but this is a time for them to realize and be realistic about what this team is and what this team needs. They need elite talent. We talk about San Jose a couple of times, and I mention them all the time. You watch that overtime with Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, and Sam Dickinson. Edge of your seat stuff. Those are the guys that are playing good for San Jose. San Jose is miles ahead of where Calgary is now. It might come back down to earth for sure. You look at Chicago, what Bedard and Nazar are doing for them in Chicago. That's an exciting team. Elite drafted talent is the only way, in my opinion, to be a successful franchise. The only way to get those guys, pay a hefty price in trading for one if someone's willing to give one up, or have a couple of seasons where you just pick at the top of the draft. A McKenna is good. Or Lawrence, centerman Lawrence coming up in this year's draft is really good. Matthias Preston coming out. He's going to be a really good player down the line. There are guys available to help build something. You have a good group, good surrounding core on some of these guys. Now get the elite talent. Don't be delusional. I like Nazem Kadri, what he's brought to the Flames, but he's not going to be here in a couple years. Whether he's traded or he lives out his contract, he's not the future. Huberdeau is not the future. Michael Backlund shouldn't have got the contract extension when he did, and he's not the future. Blake Coleman's going to be moved on from. Anderson's going to move. These guys are not the future. So let's stop just trying to drive home this mediocrity, this, hey, we should be better than we are nonsense. Because this Flames team, I think, on paper, are exactly where they should be. They're just not a good hockey team. So let's get a little honesty in here if you're Craig Conroy and the Flames. And Ryan Huska is going to do what Ryan Huska does, but it's time for Conroy to step in here and be like, Huska, we've got to play Gridden. We've got to play Hanzik. We've got to play these guys and see what we have here, because I think it's this right now for the Flames should all be about 3 to 5 years down the road, not next season. That's just delusional stuff.
Oh, for sure. And we always talk about the new building, when the new building opens. Well, what do you think Flames fans are going to want to watch? A team like they have now with a bunch of aging players, a ton of bottom 9 forwards, just a bunch of veterans, very few rookies in the lineup. Do you think you're going to want to watch that? a team that Murray Edwards and Craig Conroy think can be quote unquote competitive? Or would you rather watch a team with like a bunch of young studs? With a Gavin McKenna or a Keaton Verhoff in the lineup, maybe even a Landon DuPont type of player. Like, that's when fans will start to shell out money to come watch this team, is when they get to watch exciting, entertaining, skilled hockey, fast-paced. The hockey that we've had here in the city for the last 3 seasons has been awful.
It's been a slog.
It's been really bad. Yes, last year they had some good comebacks and they worked hard, but obviously the team wasn't very good. They got a hot start and a hot finish and a great goaltending performance. That's the reason why they were where they were. If you're the Flames, like, build a young, exciting, fast, skilled team for when Scotia Place opens, and that's when fans will start to shell out money for this team. You really expect fans to pay $150 for a ticket and $15 for parking and $400 for one beer to watch this type of hockey that we're seeing right now? No, they're not going to do that. They will, however, do that if you got your Cole Reshnies in the lineup and you got a first or second overall pick or 2 that are in the lineup. That's when fans are going to be like, holy crap, okay, this is insanely exciting. We have a legit future here. We're playing fun, entertaining, high-skill hockey. This is awesome. That's what fans want. They don't want what they've been trotting out the last 3 years. It's just, and it's so obvious. It's so obvious, and it pains me to hear things like NHL insiders continue to say the Flames ownership won't commit to this. It's unbelievably stupid.
If I had Murray Edwards' attention for 10 minutes, I would turn on that overtime game I watched Sunday night, Red Wings, San Jose. Now, the Red Wings did all they could to make that very boring overtime because they like to do the regroup thing. But to watch that crowd when Celebrini gets the puck, or Sam Dickinson's coming up the ice, or Will Smith has that puck, or even when they tied it late in regulation, to watch that building get excited to watch those kids is all the proof you need to know that this is how you should do it. Because your fans are engaged. That team is not great overall. They're still not going to make the playoffs. But fans are coming out to watch the kids, seeing the future of this organization. They're thinking, hey, look, we have Patrick Marleau and Joel Thornton 2.0 coming down the line here. They're excited again. They're engaged again. Sure, a couple of years of downtime and the building wasn't as full, but they've come back because they see the vision. They see how exciting it is. And so if I could get Murray Edwards' attention, I'd be like, this is what we want. This is all we're asking for. I've been a Flames fan since I was as far as back as I can remember. I'm 41 years old now, and I saw the Stanley Cup in '89 when I was 5 years old. But since then, it's been one playoff run, a couple of playoff series here and there, and a lot of underachieving mediocrity. And it's just not fun to watch the mediocrity. And if you were to tell me, okay, you need to go 3 more seasons where the Flames are the bottom of the league, they're not going to be very good, but at the end of it, you're going to have 3 draft picks in the top 5. I would sign up for it right now because I know what that can potentially be down the road. It could be what San Jose has. It could be what Chicago has. Look at Anaheim is another good example. Montreal is a great example of what happens when you just bite the bullet for a couple of years, realize that, hey, we got great guys here, great players here, good humans here, but this team is not a good team. And you realize it, you move on from it, and you build something that is exciting. Ask any Montreal fan, any San Jose fan that you have. I think those couple of years of downtroddenness is worth it now because they see the success.
Yeah, I know. Like Mike on In the Dome has talked about this for a long time, and I totally agree with him that because the Flames haven't committed to a rebuild when they should have, all of a sudden they are getting lapped by teams that have committed to rebuilds. Like you take a look. The San Jose Sharks are way further ahead than the Flames are. I know their record might not indicate it, but from where they are in their prospect system and the elite talent they have, they're way ahead of Calgary.
They're 3 points ahead of Calgary with a game in hand.
So that says it all right there. Anaheim Ducks have lapped Calgary 3 times in their rebuild. The Chicago Blackhawks, I know people are down on them. If you take a look at their prospect system, they probably have the best prospect system in all of hockey. They have accumulated a ton of great hockey players. They've lapped the Flames, times 4 already. Like all these teams that have committed to it, they've all lapped the Flames. Mm-hmm. And because the Flames' insistence on remaining competitive, they're just delaying the inevitable that, they're going to have to probably start a rebuild, not because they want to, but because they fell into it because their team is so bad, like a year or two from now. And they've just wasted like 4 years of hockey and 4 years of building a team for the future. It's just, yeah. We can't have this conversation every episode because I think people might get annoyed by it. But man, it's just like, it's so frustrating that a lot of this stuff just comes down to common sense. And it feels like the Flames upper management, people who are making the decisions on the direction of the team, are lacking common sense when it comes to this, which is very frustrating. They're supposed to be the experts.
Yep.
Not us, not the fans, not the media. We're not supposed to be the experts. They are. And that's why they get paid a shitload of money to make these decisions. And yet, they can't make the right call. They can't make the obvious call of doing a rebuild, even though all the fans, everybody in the hockey world can see that this team is no good. It's baffling.
And we talk about it every episode because that's what you see on social media as well. The conversation every day on Flames Twitter is all about McKenna, all about, hey, we need to be bad. Hey, we'd like to have this opportunity to get some successful talent in there. So we're talking about it every week, and we'll stop. We will stop. We'll find other things to talk about. But it's like we see it. We see the fans are saying the same thing. Hey, we just want a little bit of fun and success in this thing. We don't need a season where they're like, okay, well, we sucked this year, so free agency hits. What Troy Brouwer, Brandon Bullock moves can we pull off to be mediocre again? Like, the playoffs are always the goal for every organization. It always is. So stop saying that the playoffs is your prerogative. Stop it. Sometimes you just have to be realistic, and I think that's where the Flames need to be honest with themselves right now. And I'm not a guy who tries to promote losses, but I hope that by American Thanksgiving, this invisible deadline everyone likes to use, the Flames haven't improved. Just to send the message, hey, this is what we need to do. Force their hand, like you said, Robert, because I think that might be the only way Murray Edwards is going to okay something like this, is his hand gets forced.
That's exactly it, and that's the most frustrating part about this whole conversation is that they're not making the choice to go down a rebuild route. They are being forced into it because their team is so bad. The team that they thought could be competitive, the team that they thought could make the playoffs, the team that they refuse to trade veterans off of. That team is so bad that they have to rebuild. And that's the worst place you can be in hockey. You got to be proactive. You got to have a vision of 4, 5, 6, 7 years down the road of what this team's going to look like. And if they continue to go down the path of wanting to sneak into the playoffs every year, they're never going to build a legit contender. They're just going to continue to trot out the same hockey teams that we've seen the last 3 years. With some good players. There's some good players in Calgary Flames, don't get me wrong, but there's not the great players that can take you over the top. And it's just frustrating.
100%. Robert, we could keep going on this forever because it is a very polarizing conversation, but we got to wrap her up here. We're getting up to the hour mark. Before we sign off here, just a quick thing on Nazem Kadri. He hits 1,000 games played on Wednesday versus the Blue Jackets. Just want to send him a congratulations. He's been a good Flame. He's given his all to this organization since he's been here. Regardless of the direction of this team, I think Nazem Kadri's been a bright spot on this team. I think he is again this season. So we just wanted to give him a quick congratulations on the pod to 1,000 games. That's a lot of hockey games in the National Hockey League.
Yeah, it is an incredible accomplishment. So congratulations to him. He's had an amazing career. He's been the best Flame since joining the team in the summer of 2022. He's created a ton of amazing moments, scored some incredible goals. He's been one of the very few bright spots of this Calgary Flames organization over the last 3 years here. So good on Nazem. I hope all like the trade discussions and future discussions don't get in the way on Wednesday night of his celebration. Although actually it's kind of a compliment that he's in all these trade rumors. It's because he is such a good player and they could get a lot for him. So it's not really like a negative thing, but at the same time, it's just like, let's try to celebrate Nazem, celebrate his career, celebrate his time with the Flames. He's been a really good member of this team. He's said nothing but amazing things about Calgary, and he's been a great player. So yeah, good shout out by you. Congratulations to Nazem on 1,000 games. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. It really, really isn't. Robert, we've had a lot of positivity on the podcast today. What positive articles are coming up from you on flamesnation.ca, and where can the folks find you?
I got an article coming out talking about how much I hate this team. No, I'm totally kidding. I got my weekly column coming out. I'm still trying to figure out a name for it, but I'm putting together like a weekly column, so that should be out probably on Tuesday. See how we talk
Unix
about
Musings.
Yeah, that's what Pike wants it, and I don't know how I feel about that. Yeah,
tell Pike to give me a job.
But yeah, I got like some stuff on the Philly guys, Farabee and Frost. I got some stuff on Cooley, Ryan Huska, all that kind of stuff. So it should be a good article.
That is Robert Munich. He's Ring of Fire CGY across social media. I'm Vintage Johnny 84, of course. As always, the show is Red Mile Rundown wherever you do your social media podcasting or listening or typing or whatever else you want to call it. Flames have 3 games this week. Some good games. Blue Jackets, Blackhawks, Wild. We'll be back here next week to talk about those a bit more on the podcast. We appreciate you for making us part of your podcast rotations. Enjoy the hockey this week. Try to find something positive to think about for a little while. And we'll see you next week here on the Red Mile Rundown.